Hey everyone, glad to see you again. If you're anywhere in the world, I hope you're all having a great day. Before I start, I'd like to say that I'm recording this a little earlier than I normally do. We're going to talk about XRP. I hope that the price of XRP will start to rise again by the time this video goes live. On the one-day line, we're near $2.18, and everyone is talking about how we're now below $2.20. It had been a tough place for XRP to break through for a while, so now is really the time to make or break it. Either we start to move back up above $2.20 and take it as support again, or we might fall back to the $2 range. The one-week chart, on the other hand, still looks very strong when you zoom out. XRP is going down right now, but we've seen this happen before. What usually comes after that? A strong rise back to the top. This is something we've seen a lot with XRP, both in this cycle and in rounds before this one. At this point, all we need to do is watch how the price moves. Going back to the market, Bitcoin is now back down around $91,000, and XRP is still pretty close behind Bitcoin. Almost certainly, if Bitcoin starts to rise again, it will lead the rest of the market to rise too. That's how this market works. Not only that, but we're also waiting to see what happens with the taxes on Friday. This could be very good for crypto or very bad for crypto, based on how it turns out. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I'm still hopeful, even though there is a lot of uncertainty. I still believe we will begin to climb again. There are a lot of people who say that XRP is down right now, but if you look at the picture for 1 week, it's still up 18.62%. That's not bad at all, as long as the price stays the same and there isn't a big break. As far as rules go, we also got some important news. Senator Tim Scott said that next Thursday, the Senate Banking Committee will vote on crypto market layout legislation. It is very important that we keep an eye on this. It could be very good for all cryptocurrencies if they actually pass something and send it to the president. What about next Thursday? If it's just more talk and nothing gets done, I wouldn't expect too much to happen. Even so, the fact that these talks are happening at this level is a good sign for the long run. In terms of ETFs, WisdomTree has officially taken back its S1 registration for a spot XRP ETF. This means that WisdomTree is not going to start an XRP spot ETF at this time. That doesn't mean the end. There are still a lot of people before you. It's possible that even more ETF applications will come into the space as time goes on. Chad Steingraber brought up a great point that really helps us understand what's going on. He asked what would happen if 20 million XRP were taken off the market every day by XRP ETFs. Don't forget that more money is on the way, and some of it comes from big people. Just look at how Morgan Stanley put in for a Bitcoin ETF after 2 years. In the end, everyone gets involved. Get them all. This part of the math is very interesting. That's about 100 million XRP a week if ETFs take 20 million XRP every day. If you multiply that by 4, you get about 400 million XRP every month. If you multiply that number by 12 months, you get 4.8 billion XRP that might leave circulation just in 2026. And that number could be a very low estimate. ETF FOMO will happen if XRP prices break out to the upside or if they really start to run. More money comes in, the market needs more, and the supply keeps going down. I still think that over time, at least 8 billion XRP will leave the market through ETFs. Once more, I believe that is a traditional view. It's possible that it's more than that. We can see that momentum has slowed down a bit in the XRP study for January 7th, but ETF clients are still getting ready to buy. People are still putting money into these ETFs even when the market goes down or the price of XRP drops. That is a very important fact. These buyers don't care about how prices change in the short term. They're thinking about placing for the long term. That's the main thing to remember here. Volatility in the short term is just noise. Things haven't changed for XRP in the big picture. Adoption is still rising. Institutions are still circling. Rules are slowly becoming more clear. And the supply chain keeps getting tighter. For as long as those things stay the same, I think XRP will have a very bright future. They want to be part of this coin. And over time, that will make it really hard to get. These institutions don't want to buy and sell based on short-term price changes. It won't make them stop spending just because there's a drop. They're not feeling anything. They're not selling in a hurry. That kind of behavior is almost always caused by shopping. It happens every time the price goes down. People start writing on X, I sold my XRP, or I'm out, I'll buy back lower. Then what takes place? It suddenly just bought back my whole XRP position. When a green day comes along, that's why you sold when prices were low and bought again when prices were high. That doesn't make sense. Over time, that's how people slowly lose their investments. On red days, you don't need to do anything. That's it. Don't do anything. Don't try to change the market. Just wait for the bigger picture to play out. In this market, that's how being patient pays off. Based on the data source, the ETF counter shows that we have between 34.4 and 48 million XRP right now. Things will be interesting tomorrow. I still think that about 20 million XRP will be released every day, just like Chad Steingraber said. Anything more than that is pretty much a gift. It adds up very quickly over weeks and months if you keep going at that rate. Here's another subject line that's going around. The XRP rich list only shows about 330,000 accounts with 10,000 XRP or more. So an expert says you're still in the early stages. And I want to talk about this because this story is always being told. People in the real world don't seem to have $20,000 lying around ready to buy 10,000 XRP at the current price. That's not possible for most people. On top of that, those 330,000 accounts don't even belong to different people. A lot of people have more than one pocket. Some exchanges hold a lot of money in various addresses, which means that the real number of holders is probably much lower. That's why I always told you not to pay attention to the rich list. It leads to stress and comparison that aren't required. It looks like you need to have a certain amount of XRP to make it. Do not believe that. There isn't a magic number. Don't put too much stress on yourself by trying to hit some pointless goal that some random person on social media thought was important. This is the truth. It's hard to get 10,000 XRP now that the price is over $2. You should have saved that much XRP when it was worth less than 50 cents. That window is pretty much shut. You're not too late, though. Also, no one ever said you needed 10,000 XRP to do well in crypto. Over time, you'll be able to use your XRP in a lot of different ways. There are ways to make passive income, use cases that are based on utility, and long-term appreciation as usage grows. Things are different for everyone. A lot of people are looking for money that will change their lives, but for different people, money that changes their lives means different things. For some, getting out of debt is life-changing money. For some, it's getting a house. That means leaving a job that someone else hates. It's also family wealth for some. There isn't a single meaning. There is now another post going around from an XRP ledger worker who shared a way to get to 10,000 XRP if you can't afford to buy it directly. You'll put your money into joke coins like Drop, Army, Fuzzy, Phoenix, and more, and then you'll cash out and buy XRP. I want to make this very clear. That strategy is very dangerous. We don't know how these joke coins will do in the long run. Rules are on the way, and a project very likely goes away overnight if it doesn't have a real-world use case. That's just how this market works. Not that I think those XRP ledger joke coins are rugs. I don't know. I don't put money into joke coins. But I would never tell someone to risk their money on a trade in the hopes of hitting the jackpot just so they can turn it into XRP later. That's not an investment. That's more guesswork on top of guesswork. I always think that the safer route is the better road. Save as much money as you can, stick to it, don't risk money that you can't afford to lose. That strategy wins a lot more often in the long run than looking for the next big thing. This is also related to a great point that Dom Kwok made at ESA. A lot of people online love to say whether or not X dollars is a lot of money, but it's not clear what a lot of money means. Everybody has different duties, life goals, and ways of handling things. Every little thing counts as long as you reach your own goals. Money that changes your life looks different to each person. In crypto, I've heard people say they'd love to win $20,000 and use it to start their own business. Some people have told me they won't be happy until they get at least $1 million after cashing out. They are both right. They just want different things from life. That's why you need your own plan so badly. Choose your own goals. Do not change your plan. People on social media might try to tell you that you need a certain amount of XRP or money to be successful. There are people on X these days who say that $5 million isn't much money anymore. Most people in the world would find that comment to be ridiculous. And it just shows how far apart some of these talks have grown. Compare everything to each other is one of the fastest ways to lose your faith. Pay attention to what you can change. Pay attention to your plan to build up your wealth, your patience, and your long-term goals. You don't need regular traders who are driven by hype to buy and sell XRP. When supply goes down and long-term buyers stay put, the real move takes place. In fact, we're seeing just that slowly happen right now. Also, let me be clear about this. That's a lot of cash. $1 million is a lot of cash. It's a lot of money, even $100,000. Anyone who tells you otherwise has no idea what's going on. As soon as you put $100,000 to good use, it will grow into $1 million. This is faster than most people think. You can start with as little as $10,000 or $20,000 to do the same thing. What you do with the money is much more important than how much you have. That's what it all comes down to. Carrying out. A lot of people on X are already very rich. Putting together 10,000 XRP is really small change for them. That makes it easy for them to tell everyone to just buy more. Real life is something they either don't understand or choose to avoid. It's hard to put a lot of money in XRP or anything else when you have a 9-to-5 job, a mortgage, car payments, insurance, utilities, and groceries that keep getting more expensive. That's how things are for most people. That's why I always said the same thing. Spend only as much as you can, not more and not less. Don't put too much stress on your finances by trying to reach a made-up XRP number. Now, Peter Brandt, a trader with a lot of experience, just made a very vague XRP price analysis. He showed the figure without any words added to it. Really, he didn't need to say anything. You can see what's going to happen just by looking at that picture. The breakout structure can be seen coming together. One thing that's clear is that XRP is getting ready for a huge rise that could happen soon. A lot of people think they're being smart here. They think that XRP will go up, make a blow off top, and then fall below 50 cents. They think the plan is easy. When XRP prices rise, sell some and then go shopping. When prices drop again, buy more XRP. A lot of those people are going to get a rude shock, I think. This is not advice about money. Now, we're way too close for comfort for XRP to start moving money and value every day. The price of XRP could rise in ways we've never seen before just because it is being tokenized. The market has changed since last year. Things are different now. The biggest XRP breakout is about to happen. At the moment, people are feeling strangely bad. It seems like everyone I talk to says that XRP lost support, that we're now below barrier, and that we're going back to under 50. That's not true. Nobody knows that. XRP can now bounce back very quickly. That penny doesn't move like it used to. It goes in 50-cent, nickel, dime, and quarter increments. Also, please give this some thought. If XRP starts moving in dollars every day, what will happen? Because it's going to happen. Most people will wish they hadn't freaked out on red days when it does happen. When the market goes red, you don't need to do anything. That's it. Don't do anything. Mark Brandt shows the graph. You can see it clearly if you know how markets work. Do you really think that things will stay the same for a lot longer? I don't. Things are already getting ready for this move. It won't wait for people who sold out of fear once it starts. If you look at the 1-week chart, you can see that a lot of buyers sold XRP during the downtrend, so they won't be in it when it breaks out. On the other hand, the 24-hour figure shows that prices are already beginning to level off. The momentum is changing. As I said at the start of the video, I hope that by the time it goes live, we're already starting to bounce back and push above the $2.20 level of support. Also, I wouldn't worry if we didn't break above it right away. People often don't expect XRP to move, but it does. One morning, everyone will wake up and look at their charts. XRP will be ripping like crazy. And when that happens, there will be complete happiness. It's what everyone will talk about. Also, take note of this. XRP is already being talked about in the news more and more. That tells you everything you need to know. The change is taking place. It's no longer just Bitcoin on this market. Now, XRP is definitely being talked about, so be patient until that breakout comes in full force. Don't give up.